There is always a special place in our hearts where we keep our beautiful little memories of good old days. In this busy world of ours, good old days remind us of the times when life was simpler and slower. And I ask, is there any need to refer to the good old days if today is better? The answer is no. So join me as I, Muiz Oladehinde Omitogun, share with you some memories of my good old days. I was born in Abeokuta at the popular and #1 hospital in Nigeria, Sacred Heart Hospital, Lantoro. The hospital was run and managed by the Catholic missionaries. In fact, you would think you were in the UK or US when you entered the hospital, as most of the resident doctors were white. Till date, the hospital is still up and running. I grew up in my uncle, Alhaji Muiz Oladehinde Omitogun's house at Isaleake amongst my cousins. Growing up was fun as we used to go to Erunwo to visit my big cousin, Brother Sikiru. My grandfather's house was at the back of Alake's Palace. In fact, my grandfather was a very close friend of the late Obagbadebo. I came to Lagos when I was about to start my primary school. Our house was at number 14, Petida Hall Street, off Morocco Road, but I'm not too sure of the address now since it must have been changed. However, my late father, Alhaji Muhammad Sabiu Adebayo Omitogun, was the head of carpentry section in the then Post and Telecommunications, P&T, now NIPOST and defunct Nitel. And my mother, Nurat Akonke Omitogun, was a petty trader. Though I grew up in a polygamous family, but it was fun as everybody was treated equally. What I enjoyed most is my liberty to enter and eat in any of the wives' room. I had very cordial relationship with my step brothers and sisters. We belonged to the middle class and we never lacked anything. I could remember vividly that apart from Babawa, as we used to call our dad, only few landlords had television in the neighborhood. I remembered Ekundayo and Smith were few landlords that had television in those days. We were not rich, but we were comfortable. We could afford all the good things children of the rich could afford. In fact, you can hardly differentiate rich people then. We had so many friends who flocked around us because of the television. Any of our friends who had issues with me or my brothers or sisters knew that she would not be allowed in to watch television. Rather, such person would watch television from the window for that day. However, if the offense was too grievous, he or she will not be allowed into the compound at all. With this development, no one would want to offend us. Growing up was fun as we all ate in the same plate. My paternal grandmother, Iya Agbas, supervised the eating. She will distribute the meat, but you are not allowed to eat meat until the end of the meal. If you are caught eating meat before the end of the meal, Iya Agbas will ask you to leave, especially if you had not eaten enough. Her argument was that for you to have eaten meat, it meant you are satisfied. I also remember vividly in those days, Babawa used to buy imported pig milk and carnation milk. These were the major brands available then. I remember we always lick raw powdered milk like Nido when on bed. I also remember vividly that my dad used to take us to Kingsway to buy things for us. Most of those things are not available now. I started my primary school at Salvation Army Primary School, Ebute Meta. Babawa will drop me in school with his Cortina car with registration number LK3257, which was later changed to WE8381. You dare not go near the car except with his permission. And on my way from school, I will spend my transportation fare and either look for free bus back home or trail the distance. Most times, you will have to beg the Molu conductor. That was the area of Charity and Gbekelolu bus transport services. Those were the most popular buses flying Shomolu then. I remember on so many occasions where we trekked from home to Jebako Cinema at Onipan and Rainbow Cinema Mushin to watch Indian films. We always watched film from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. These were days that you do not fear that anything bad could happen to you. We were never afraid to trek back home from Mushin to Shomolu after the end of the show. Though there were thieves in those days too, but they were not as dastardly brutal as what we have today. In fact, what you used to have in those days were those small thieves that would just come to your compound to remove clothes, not the ones that we have now. Christmas and Ileya were two festivals that we looked up to. Our Christian friends will come to our house to celebrate with us, while we also go to their house to celebrate with them. We will eat and dine together without anyone thinking if the food could be poisoned. At that, if such still happens today, I also remember vividly that at Lekeu, people will always bring akara or moi or food to the Lekeu, and we eat everything without knowing the person that brought it. And we never thought they could harm us. I don't think such thing happened today. Wow! Memories. They keep coming back. Another incident that will ever remain in my memory was the day I was caught smoking a piece of mat. Though Babawa used to smoke Benson and Nedges cigarettes, he never welcomed any of his children into that smoking business. My brothers saw me smoking mat and reported to him. He caught me in the act and gave me the beating of my life. That was the good old days when children were punished for doing the wrong thing. Not these days when parents even encourage and support their children for doing the wrong thing. Babawa retired from P&T in 1977 and relocated to Abeokuta. I had no choice than to go with him. I attended Baptist Boys High School, Shaji, Abeokuta, one of the most prestigious and popular schools in Abeokuta. I've been founded in January 1923. My house was not too far from the school, and trekking to and from school with friends was fun. Closeness of my house to the school made most of my friends to come to our house and play after school. We had a standard table tennis, which we also play with. Things were so good in those days that we can't drink Garri without putting milk and fry eggs without putting Geisha. Things were so cheap and life was better. I don't think there is any middle-class family that can afford this today. Those were the good old days when Nigeria was good. Living in those days was more pleasurable, pleasant and safe than what we are witnessing now. And my question now is, how did we get to this stage in our life? In those good old days, we were built to be resilient. We pushed on basically because we wanted to make our parents and ourselves proud. In the hierarchy of values, we were taught that honesty and integrity reign supreme, and I'm very proud and thankful for these orientations and trainings. So, what went wrong? Is it the same today as yesterday? I doubt. Is the situation hopeless? Certainly not. Is it possible to change the narrative? Absolutely yes. I believe the glory of Nigeria will shine and we shall blossom again if we begin to plant into the hearts and minds of people those time-tested values of truth, honesty, integrity, and sincerity of purpose. The youth tend to emulate what they see around them. So, if change must come, if tomorrow must be brighter, then the right attitude and values must be reenacted today. The onus lies on each one of us to keep showcasing those things that we once emulated. We all deserve a better Nigeria, better than those glorious days we speak about today. It is in line with this that I have decided to join Sashimo Ribadejo in this collective desire to have a brighter future for not only our children, but for us too. God bless Nigeria.